Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I need to go back because there's a soundtrack there. I'm Chris Nesbitt, and I am the event director for TCNewTech. I want to welcome all of you to the Blue Tech version of TCNewTech. We've got a jam-packed session tonight. There's a ton of pitches, there's projects, there's updates, there's all kinds of amazing things happening in the area and abroad. So we're going to get through that tonight together. It's going to be a lot of fun. We have a couple people coming in virtually, which is pretty cool. We're going to get updates from the freshwater, I'm going to say it wrong, but it's Freshwater Innovation Research Center, I think that's the way I said it. And we're also going to get some updates from the ecosystem of Traverse Connect. And then we also have a past presentation that won for TCNewTech that's going to come and give us an update. That'll be all of filters. So we're very, very excited to have all that going on tonight. And then we also have 6 presenters, so definitely full of fun. And want to remind everybody, if you haven't already checked in, this is very important because this is how you are going to vote tonight at the very end. So you can scan the QR code there. There's all kinds of perks to using the app. You get updates leading up to the event. We can send you reminders, but also there, from time to time, we do door prizes as well. And yeah, it's very, very handy to be part of the app, but it's also the most important thing to vote. So, and then make sure you silence your phones, guys. We're at a tech event. There's nothing worse than a phone going off in the middle. Okay, so I'm actually going to bring Bill up to introduce TCNewTech's mission. So this is Bill Palladino. Thank you, Bill.
Hi, Chris. Let's hear it for Chris, who does a great job putting this event together for us every week. Thank you, Chris. Hi, everybody. I'm Bill Palladino, and I serve on TCNewTech's board, and I just flew in and with this little bout of laryngitis, so bear with me. I've been tested. It's not anything. It's just laryngitis, so hang in there with me. But I'm here from the board of directors to just inform you of why we're all here and why we're in this place together. I wanted to let you know our mission, and rather than let you read this big, long mission, in a few short words, what I can say is we're really the epicenter of this burgeoning ecosystem that is a technology ecosystem in northern Michigan. We're kind of the front door, and we present that front door with this very event, the event you're at, and we really appreciate you all being here. We're still trying to kind of gain our footing again after COVID, and thanks for so many of you being here tonight. It's awesome to see. The reality check for us is that we can't accomplish this mission without the kind of standard nuts and bolts that is a nonprofit organization's job. And we tend, in this thing that we do, not to remind you of that near enough. So it's my job to stand up here and do a little bit of this for you. Our request, it's time for us to ask you to show us the money. We need your support to help TCNewTech survive on a monthly basis to make this work. We've got a meager budget of about $36,000 a year, and all that does is it does this event once a month. That's our job. We have no frills, really nothing else, but we're asking you, if you can go to that link and help support this organization, it will help us a lot. These events are free of charge. We've never charged for them. We don't intend to, but we need some support from our organization's members, from the community to help make this happen. Also, if you're interested in technology at all, we are looking for some board members. So please contact me or Chris or anybody from the board of directors. If you're currently on the board of TCNewTech, would you raise your hand just so people know you're in here? We got Chuck in here, got a few other folks. So just know that we're around. Eric, Camille's back there. Eric's at 20 Fathoms. These guys are our great partners. So I'll leave it at that, just to let you know that, yeah, show me the money when you can, because we can't do this without public support, and we haven't asked enough for that. So thank you, and we'll get on with this little thing that we do.
Thank you very much. It's always good when somebody else asks for the money. I don't have to do that. Thank you all for being here tonight. Is anybody here for the very first time? Super. Fantastic. Well, this is what we do. So if you've watched online or you've been in person, we sort of run the show the same way every single time. So we have 5 minutes of Q&A, or excuse me, 5-minute presentation, 5-minute Q&A. We do several announcements in the interim. You'll see like we just had, but there's actually an opportunity for you to make an announcement if you'd like. So if you're here tonight, you have something worthy of telling the audience or an ask perhaps. In the center of each aisle, you will see a microphone. We just ask that you keep it short, about 30 seconds, and we have a timer in the front. So any of you that heard 6 pitches and you're concerned about the timeline today, know that I'm a Nazi. The presentations have 5 minutes, and they'll have 5 minutes of Q&A. So I'm not mean, I'm just trying to stay on schedule. So those of you that are pitching, be ready for that. And so this is sort of what we're gonna do and who's gonna come up. We're gonna make an introduction to each and every one of them. Anybody have questions? Okay. Okay. All right. So like Bill said, we do rely on our membership and our sponsorship and our in-kind support. However, if you really want to get engaged in the program, I highly encourage you to become a member. This allows you to vote for board members, to become a board member if that's of interest to you, to get some cool swag, but really just to be on our newsletter and informed as to what's going on. So please consider doing this here now by scanning the QR code or visit the membership table in the interim. We have a fantastic main sponsor. You're going to meet the leader of that team here in just a minute from 20 Fathoms, but they are located over atop the Roma building, a beautiful location helping support our tech startups and the tech startup ecosystem. They also have a beautiful co-working space if you're interested. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Eric Roberts with 20 Fathoms.
Thank you, Lisa. And it's a big night because Eric gets 5 minutes tonight, not the usual 2. So it's a very exciting night for me because I get to talk a little bit more. So the logos you see behind me, well, first of all, so we started working probably at least 6 months ago. I saw Matt McDonough earlier. He and I think, started our first meeting discussing this back in February. So it's been 9 or 10 months that we started this concept. And the logos you see behind me, and hopefully a lot of you saw in the news today, the press release that started from Michigan Tech and pretty well spread pretty fast here in Traverse City around the 5-party MOU that we signed, aligned around a particular vision. The unique thing is you take those 5 logos, those are the 5 organizations who signed off on this MOU, and essentially it was a common vision. And I'm going to come back to that a couple times tonight because yes, there's going to be a really cool sexy building out in the West Bay. We'll talk about that a little bit, but there's a lot more to it than just a building. There's an entire vision that's shaped by those 5 organizations that you see over there. And the unique thing about it is each of those organizations come to the party with their own set of objectives, their own priorities, their own mission and objectives. And in all of that, we had to find this common vision that all of them also could get behind, that would also go back and serve those organizations. That's the thing that we've been building, and that's what this MOU that we got signed a couple weeks ago now and was announced today solidifies. It says that those 5 organizations are aligned to that vision, and we're going to go march forward and make it happen. So what is it? So each of those organizations that have this shared mission also have various strengths that they bring to it. And so if you take Michigan Tech, right, they know how to do research. They just had the biggest research. I don't know if you saw this or not. Their biggest research year ever was in the last 12 months. And so they know how to they also have a Great Lakes Research Institute today, so they know how to do water research. So they bring the research piece of it. Northwestern Michigan College, of course, does tech education, workforce development. They have, this was probably maybe 6 months ago now, a top 5 marine technology program in the country. It's one of their bachelor's degrees over there. So they bring the workforce development, the people who want to take and help and work on the jobs that come out of this. We at 20 Fathoms, you've heard us talk over and over again about the services we provide, the startup support, the programming, mentorship that helps small businesses get off the ground. So the very research that takes place at this center, that's fed by the workforce development work that NMC does, 20 Fathoms comes in and helps commercialize. We happen to have, so for Discovery Center and Pier, everybody, the people who hear about it are excited because it's the coolest space on West Bay. Like the place where we're going to put this building is phenomenal. It's got the pier on the other side so we can put research vessels in. But more important than that, and this is why it's so important to understand the vision as a whole, more important to that is the connection back to the community. So it's inspiring kids of tomorrow in water technologies and STEM careers. They're going to see it happening right out in front of them. It's a connection point back to the community. That's in their mission, right? So they bring that to the party. As we do this research, as we have these on the first floor, a display that says, here's the really cool research we're doing. It's access for the community to be able to see that and then turn around and look back at the West Bay and actually see that research being performed. So each of these organizations tie that together. Obviously, what comes out of all of that is economic development. That's the Traverse Connect connection. That's what they do. That's the expertise that they bring to the table. So you can see all of these pieces make up this vision. And yes, by the way, it is going to be a super, super damn cool building too. But in all of that, a really important point I want you to take away is we're already doing a bunch of it. Right? So this project, this initiative we're talking about is not just the building. It's all the work that we're already doing. You're going to hear from, I believe it's 6 companies tonight in water technology that's already happening in this area. We signed, as you know, Michigan Tech and NMC signed an MOU to work together on a bunch of things, 2+2 education and research. Before the pandemic, before this idea of this research center ever came about, that work was already going on. There's an NSF engine application. I wish I had enough time to tell you about it. I'll spill the beans. It's $160 million over 10 years. It would be transformational to both Traverse City and Houghton. We're partnering with Michigan Tech on that. They wrote it. They know how to get NSF money. They know how to do research. So they've done that. And then I got to talk for a second about Fish Pass. Who's heard of it? Probably everybody's heard of it. Do you know what it is, though? It's the coolest damn thing. Okay, so when you talk about research, a lot of people's mind goes to the little petri dish in the lab with a lab tech looking at it, and someday some bacteria grows and you solve something. There's also the kind of research that happens live outside your window, and it's called applied, and it's closer to actual commercial businesses. This is a rendering at Union Street. This is where it's going. This project, it was $19 million when it was approved a couple years ago. The thinking now is that probably it's in the low $20 million. And it sorts fish. Like it's fairly manual in its first instantiation, but if you look down at the bottom, I said I would never do this. Okay, you ready? Right there. There's a research, you're never supposed to use the pointer. There's a research center over there, an education center, so that entities can come in later on and actually teach and learn and how to do AI. They do facial recognition of fish, so it tells if it's an invasive species coming by, or if it's a trout and you want the trout to go upstream and, hell, Chuck. Okay. Okay, I promise I'll be really fast. So anyway, this is coming, right? So independent of a research center, this thing is coming, and it's going to be right in our backyard, and that's what research looks like, right? It decides whether the sea lamprey can go. You don't want them to go because they go upriver and spawn. You want to get them out of the Great Lakes. It blocks them. The trout and the salmon, you do want to go. The machine figures out which is which and opens a trap gate and lets them through. Super, super cool. And it's coming. They had a choice of 12 locations around the Great Lakes. They picked ours, right? Lastly, I got to have a next step slide. We have the vision in place. We signed the 5-party MOU. The next thing is to build out that harbor. So we've got feelers out to try to get some funding going. As soon as we get the first one, we build out the harbor. The minute we do that, there's research vessels in the harbor. Okay, they're doing research. We don't need the building to have this vision get started, right? That's going to happen really soon. That's the end of my time. Love you. Thank you.
That's why it helps to make friends before you get on stage. Yeah. So next, I want to welcome Barb Shellman. Very excited to have her here. She is a SCORE mentor on top of all the other things that she does for the community, and she's going to give us a tip. Do you need this? Do you need this? You need this? Do you have slides? Okay, perfect. There you are, ma'am.
Wow, that's hard to follow. Um, so, everybody take a breath. Okay, so super excited. Okay, so I'm here to tell you why you as a small business need a board of directors. Okay, the most important reason to believe that is because with a thoughtfully chosen team that will ignite your small business to great success and long-term growth. So I'm going to share a little bit about the people that should be sitting around that table. You get to pick them. It's the beauty of being a small business. You get to pick those people and some of the traits that they should have. So first, here are the big four, right? We all kind of know these and who these people are in our lives. If you don't have these people in your lives and you're starting a small business, get them in your life, because if you don't need them now, you are going to need them at some point in time. And some of the traits they should have: they should know what a small business is. They should have run a small business themselves. They should have small business customers. So make sure that they know your space and understand it and the opportunities and challenges that are out there. Make sure they're cost competitive, right? Small businesses, we work on a really tight budget. So let's make sure that they are cost competitive. Will they work collaboratively with the other people on your team? Are they willing to do that? These are important questions to ask. And of course, really most importantly, do they have capacity within their practice to have you be part of that, okay? And are they not just there to sell you a service, but are they there to help really advise you and move you along in the path and help your business grow? The next group of people are the really critical ingredient to your board of directors, okay? And some of these would be a peer that's within your industry. Maybe somebody that is in your same age and station in life. Maybe they are a couple of steps ahead of you in the building process of that startup, okay? Get alongside them, work with them, be collaborative with them. Also, a person that's known you for a long time, and no, this is not your mother, okay? But find somebody that knows you well, knows your values, knows your passion, knows your strengths, knows your weaknesses, and are willing to share those with you and talk honestly with you about them. The other is maybe you find somebody within your industry that you admire, that you'd like to ask to be at the table. The other is either a retired businessman or an entrepreneur, businesswoman. Either one is fine. Bring them on. These are people that maybe have gone through a ton of different business cycles. They have maybe failed, hit some of the hurdles that you are going to along the way. Find them, seek them out. They are a wealth of information to you. Some of the traits these people should have: they should be a contrarian. They shouldn't be afraid to challenge you, to be devil's advocate. Make sure that they're going to be able to talk honestly with you about that and really share their ideas and their thoughts. You all will maybe at some point in time have investors. Those people have a financial interest. Some of the people on this board of directors you have should not have a financial interest. They should just have a primary interest of trying to encourage you and get your business off the ground and help you succeed. That should be their only interest, nothing financial. Of course, you need to trust them, and they need to be an advocate for you. Are they connected in the community? Can they talk to the right people and help connect you? And then when you sit back and you look at this group of people that you have collected, do they have diverse skills? Are they going to bring different backgrounds to the table? So things to think about. Tonight, I want to leave you with some thoughts that I pulled from an article I read recently in the Harvard Business Review. Title was "What Makes Great Boards Great?" It was written by Jeffrey Sonnefeld. He wrote, "Successful teams seem to get into a virtuous cycle in which one good quality builds another. Team members develop mutual respect because they respect one another. They develop that trust because they trust one another. They share difficult information because they have the same reasonably complete information. They can challenge one another's conclusions coherently because a spirited give and take becomes the norm, and they learn to adjust their own interpretations in response to intelligent questions." So I'll leave you with that. Good luck on building your board of directors. If you'd like some support from SCORE, please reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you, and have a great evening and good luck tonight.
Thank you very much. We are going to start our next part of the program. Hi. With Chuck and Rose. They're going to teach us about PFAS, and I think just give us a quick moment. We're going to bring Rose up on the screen.
Rose, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, good. Well, thank you. First things first, I want to share with you why Rose can't be on stage with me this evening. She's actually packing her bags for her flight to Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt, and the United Nations Global Climate Change Conference. She will speak on a panel with members of the National Science Foundation on climate change education in the U.S. So that's pretty cool. She's getting ready to go right now, as soon as we're done with this. But tonight, she's going to dig into the science of PFAS detection. And afterward, I'm going to present the business model behind the science. So Rose, if PFAS are everywhere, why are they so hard to find?
Thanks, Chuck. At this point, a lot of us are very familiar with the forever chemicals, which are scientifically known as per- and polyfluoroalkyl substances. They have surfactant properties, have spread globally, and don't naturally degrade. In the US, there are 2,854 confirmed sites contaminated with PFAS. However, a study recently came out that predicts there to be over 57,000 contamination sites in the US. One of the reasons why there is such a large gap between confirmed and presumptive contamination sites is because PFAS exist at such low concentrations, making them difficult to detect. They are generally found at concentrations of parts per trillion. To help us visualize what this concentration looks like, imagine we have 20 Olympic-sized swimming pools, which collectively contain approximately 13.2 million gallons of water. If we add a single eyedropper full of PFAS to this volume of water, the concentration of PFAS in the pools will be 70 parts per trillion. So we're talking about an extremely small concentration. Because of the expected toxicity of PFAS compounds, even at these low concentrations, EGLE has set maximum contaminant level regulations on 7 PFAS compounds in Michigan. While there are currently no national regulations, the EPA proposed to instate stricter PFAS regulations, which are expected to go into effect by April of 2023. Now, what does this mean for us from a business perspective? It means that companies will now be held liable for their PFAS pollution. This also means that their environmental insurers will need PFAS data in order to create liability policies for the detection of PFAS. Currently, aqueous PFAS is detected using high-performance liquid chromatography with tandem mass spectrometry. However, there are some limitations with this method. First, field samples must be transported to a stationary lab. Then samples are placed in a long queue line, which results in turnaround times of weeks to months. This process is too slow. What we need is an insight for diagnostics. Chuck and I would like to propose 2 solutions to this issue. First, we would like to create a fleet of mobile PFAS detection laboratories that will be capable of on-site testing with high volumes and rapid turnarounds. We've already been speaking to Agilent Technologies regarding the feasibility of creating these mobile labs. Using our mobile labs, we would like to build a data warehouse. We propose to do quality control and real-time updates on existing PFAS databases. We also would like to generate new data from the 57,000 presumptive contamination sites. Finally, we would like to profile contaminated sites so we can then predict the presence of PFAS on a site before testing occurs. Now we will shift gears and Chuck will talk about the business model.
Yes, thank you, Rose. Now on to the business model. Solve for XL3C is an environmental R&D platform. It's specifically designed to integrate private capital, academic research, and industrial players in the effort to solve big problems. For instance, in the Solve PFAS projects, we find and conduct applied research to detect, measure, and track PFAS in freshwater systems. Our business model can address multiple market segments. In this case, we are modeling a mobile PFAS diagnostic lab and a PFAS data warehouse. Each market segment comprises distinct key customers. Both market solutions require capital, financial, intellectual, social, and human, hence the FISH capital model. Solve4X does not have and does not intend to have all these disciplines in-house. Instead, we ally with strategic partners and joint venturers whose values and capital types complement ours. Are you compelled to invest your capital with meaningful impact, be it financial, intellectual, social, or human? If so, let's consider a joint venture and bring our respective strengths to the fight to find and destroy PFAS in our water. Thank you. Any questions, if anyone might have any? Yes. That's an excellent question. It's why we stay on the diagnostic side, because the remediation of it and the destruction of the PFAS requires such a different strength than what we have. So what we need to do is detect, measure, and track it first, because that's really what we're good at. The folks who are already in environmental remediation, et cetera, and the labs that are looking at ways to break that carbon-fluorine bond in situ, we can't pump and treat Lake Michigan or the underwater aquifers. We have to go to where it is to treat it. And so the chemistry, et cetera, the electrochemistry, all the things to go out to break that bond in situ are what they're going to do. We will support them to find where the problem is. Once they start remediating, we'll support them and saying, here's how you're doing. You're actually making progress, or no, you're not making progress. So we're going to stick to our knitting on the diagnostic side. And there are plenty of folks who address that, the other side of the coin, which you very appropriately bring up. Thank you. Yes, sir. Hi, Matt. Hi, Matt.
Does the technology exist today for the rapid testing, and just a function of getting the testing to the site-specific location?
Yes, it is. The technology does exist. Beg pardon?
Will you repeat the question?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. Matt asked if the technology exists today for the rapid testing, et cetera. And it actually does. And Russell is about to either contradict me or tell me what a great job I'm doing. What is it, Russ?
As you know, PFAS 3 years ago, a typical test at a laboratory was $900.
Yeah.
One sample. Today it's about $400. I project, just because there's more people in the market, the technology advances, there's lots of really good equipment out there now, that price is going to drop going forward.
Yeah.
And so how do you kind of factor that into your business model in terms of mobile laboratories and how you're going to make it?
Because this is not a B2C business, this is a B2B business. And so you have vested stakeholders with significant testing requirements at a landfill, at a remediation site, at an Air Force base. They need a lot of testing done quickly with rapid turnaround of that data. Those are our target customers, not the folks who have a well, a half mile from the airport. So it's a B2B play. Yes, sir. We are not. Should I be? He asked if we were partnering with any customer or any remediators who use mycelium, i.e. mushrooms and spores. But that is something that has come up in the past, and we really want to talk about that. So if you know about that, let's chat. Absolutely. You bet. Thank you. Anyone else? There's 5 minutes. How about that?
Yay, good job.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, now we are going to welcome Dana with LilyPod, and I believe that AK Productions is going to help me load it up. There they are. Hi, Dana.
Hi, how are you? And, hello, Traverse City. Good evening.
There you go. You are on and ready to go.
Thank you. Thank you. My name is Dana Lowell. I'm the CEO of LilyPad. LilyPad is a carbon-free solar-powered boat built for the rental market and the sharing economy. LilyPad makes access to the water simple, accessible, and pollution-free. We were designed basically to solve two problems. One, spending time on the water is expensive, difficult, and unsustainable. Your typical recreational boat gets 1 to 2 miles per gallon. And in addition, the only real alternative if you don't own a boat is rental fleets. And the rental fleet market is an underserved market, basically operating with boats that were designed for private ownership and operating with basically pencil and paper operations. LilyPad solves all that. LilyPad is a solar boat. It's designed for the sharing economy. It's got room for 6. We designed it as a cafe table on water. It features silent, carbon-free operation and user-friendly controls, basically a toggle that anybody can operate. We designed it purposefully for the boat rental market, and it's designed for first-time users and novice boat customers. This is LilyPad. I'll run a video because the video will do a better job of explaining it than myself. LilyPad is the world's first truly 100% solar powered boat. We designed it for the rental market. It's 100% silent, so it's very, very quiet. What we're trying to design is a cafe table on water. It's really been inspired by a different way to get out of the water that's done sustainably.
What's amazing about LilyPad is it's powered only by the sun. The boat can be used all day long and never be plugged in. We made it really easy to maneuver and drive.
So we can go in 360 degrees direction, go sideways, go backwards, forwards.
You don't have to be worried about moving. The boat is pretty reactive, so it gives that sense of security. The solar panels close up, so it closes up at night because we want to make sure that everybody has a clean spot when they're ready to boat the next day.
It's definitely the most unique thing about it. It's eye-catching. It's quiet, it's social, it's comfortable. It is a absolutely green, sustainable platform that is an awesome experience. LilyPad is the next generation of boating.
All right. We also included a full IoT stack within LilyPad, and that allows for really frictionless access. So we've got an app interface to it for scheduling, e-pay, simple payment, liability waivers included on the app. We've also got a full suite of fleet management tools for the fleet operator. So it allows for him to do tracking of the boat, operational status of the boat, so we can look at state of charge on the battery or state of charge on the solar panels. He can also input geofencing, which would allow for keep out zones for areas that may have weeds or debris, underwater debris. We've got a great team. We've got over 50 collective patents between us, over 100 years of experience. We're mostly big tech automotive guys. It's cross-functional team, so we've got the tech, Jim Hoterry on tech. I do the business. Roger's doing design and UX, and Noel's doing the software stack. Got great board advisors, Carl Erickson, who's chair of Michigan Venture Capital, Linda Chamberlain, who's done a lot of technology development and venture capital also. Our basic business building blocks, it takes about, right now, building them one at a time, about $28,000 to build a boat. We've got a roadmap to take that down to $20,000. The existing market rate for boat rentals is about $100 an hour, and we do a revenue share with the boat renter, the fleet operator, so a 50-50 revenue split. The boat over a year will earn about $150,000 in revenue. Over lifetime, about $1.8 million in revenue. Operating costs are near zero as we're solar powered. That's the basics of the financials. Here's our financial projections. We're right now looking for $300,000 safe round.
This is Lisa. I don't know if you can hear me, but you are at 5 minutes. So if you've got about 10 seconds to wrap up that slide, and we'll get some Q&A.
So we expect to be about $35 million by 2026. We see several different exit opportunities. And right now we're looking for soliciting investors for a $300,000 safe note. We want to build some additional lily pads, secure additional rental contracts, and basically develop credentials for a price seed round in 2023. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we will move into the Q&A portion. So if anybody has a question, you could actually, yeah, making your way to the microphone would be a great idea to ask a question. That's good thinking.
I got 2 questions. One is, what is the kind of, I guess it's more or less kind of 2 questions in one. What is the target audience, and kind of what is kind of like the horsepower as far as the boat is concerned? Like, is this kind of like casual users, or is this like, is it kind of actually something you could like tube or snow, like?
Yeah, no, we're definitely designed for the rental market. So we're looking at, for example, the boats that we have down in Saugatuck are in the Kalamazoo River Channel, and it's basically a no wake zone. So we're limited to about 5 or 6 miles per hour. So we're using EV motors, and we're top speeds about 6 miles an hour with them. So it's definitely designed for the relaxing social experience on water. We're not designed for tubing or water skiing or even big water.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, sir. Joe Teal says hello.
Hey, Joe, how are you?
About the sustainability of the products you're using in terms of batteries and the wood.
I apologize, I didn't hear that.
His question was about sustainability and using the batteries and the wood that you use.
Yeah. So that's a great question. So we actually are in the circular economy accelerator down at Centropolis, and a big principle of it's backed by Eagle. But we really took circular design to heart, and we're using aluminum. Aluminum is the hull because it's recyclable, unlike fiberglass. We're using upcycled lithium ion phosphate batteries that are recovered from A123 Toyota Prius conversion kits. So they're basically remanufactured after end of life from the automotive cycle. And then we're also using all our timber, the table and the decking and everything is all salvage lumber from the city of Detroit. It's black locust lumber, which is an invasive species. We have it milled, and then that's the decking for the boat. So we're really, really focused on circularity. And frankly, the whole rental model is circularity. I mean, the reality is, in a typical Great Lakes season, you're going to rent one of these to 300 unique family groups or customer groups versus what would be one family in a private ownership model. So we're really taking circularity to heart in terms of how we designed the product.
Fantastic. Anybody else have a question? Yeah. Oh.
I apologize because I cannot hear any of the questions.
Yeah. Bill Myers with Promethean just put in a really good word for you and shouts his success and recognition at the company to you and your introductions.
Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it.
And he loves your haircut too.
Yeah, my haircut. What?
Oh, he said that for real.
Yeah.
Anybody else? That's excellent. Okay. Oh, there's one in the back. Yes, sir. What is your range for 24 hours of charge?
We can literally go all day long with the solar panels. The solar panels generate about 1,500 watts, and we, with both motors going, will consume about 900 watts. So we basically can go all day long. We actually can put empty batteries on board the boat and then charge them during the day. And I've kind of wanted to do this experiment of running it literally 24 hours a day and see where we could get to with it. But I haven't done it yet. But we literally, there's no power shortage with the solar panels that we have with the use case that we have.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Dana.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Okay. Now we are going to welcome. Whoa, I'm going to break things. Hold on. One moment. So Kimberly Meek is here, and she's going to be joined by Teresa online to talk about OLA. And it's actually an update from a past presentation.
Thank you. I think she's going to handle it.
Oh, she's going to handle it.
She's
Great.
going to handle it.
Okay,
for
good.
Tim.
Oh, there she
There
is.
she is.
You're on.
Hi, Teresa.
Hi, everybody. I'm virtual tonight because COVID hit my house today, which was bad timing, but it happens. So I'm Teresa Smith. I was on stage last year as a contestant, pitching an idea for how to make water filtration more accessible in developing countries. That pitch event was the spark that gave us some confidence and some community and helped us get started. So it's fun to come back here tonight. I built OLA Filter with my business partner and CEO, Elizabeth Clandos. She leads from Guatemala. And so tonight I'm giving you an update of our story. Also, I have an encouragement for y'all out there who come to these new tech events because you meet people. So I met Kim, who's on stage right now, this spring at a pitch event. Kim's company, Acha Products, is a distributor of sustainable technologies for drinking water. And now she's distributing OLA filters. So any of you water tech companies pitching here tonight, Kim may be somebody to meet this evening. So it's been quite a year since I was on stage last. We came there with an idea and a 3D printed prototype. So our idea was to make an affordable and long-lasting water filter to help build global access to clean drinking water and reduce the harmful effects of single-use plastics on the environment, and to build it in Guatemala, where we had seen the need firsthand. That fall, we got our first funding, and Elizabeth moved to Guatemala. So she knocked on doors throughout Guatemala City while I supported remotely here in Traverse City. Choosing to start the company in Guatemala proved to be even more challenging than we imagined, but it kept us close to our first customers, reduced our cost, and helped us refine our product and our messaging in context. By the summer, just a year after our pitch, we'd grown from an idea with a prototype to a company with a product. So our injection molding tooling was complete. We passed lab testing, exceeding EPA recommendations for bacterial removal, filed our patent application, launched our website, and we met Kim and brought in Acha Products to support getting the word out about our product. So now we're in the market. We have filters in inventory. We're getting customers here and in Guatemala. Our logo field of customers and partners is growing daily. Initial sales have been slow, but we're beginning to ramp up. So filter samples and small orders have traveled to 10 countries already, and we're getting some notice. You may have seen us on 9 and 10 or Up North Live. We're being featured in the November Traverse City Business News as one of 15 local innovators. And Kim will be spotlighting the OLA filter in Washington, D.C. later this month. As Kim's company, Acha Products, is a triple diversity certified company, she opens opportunities for corporate and government partnerships that we at OLA Filter can't do on our own. I'm going to hand over to Kim to introduce Acha and her role with OLA.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kimberly Meek, and I own Acha Products. And Acha Products is a distribution company, and we distribute OLA filters. We basically open markets. I focus on corporations that seek sustainability and ESG goals. And we've been very fortunate to have OLA filter. Actually, I brought one with me so you could see what it looks like. This small device takes out bacteria and parasites and makes clean water, dirty water, clean to drink and cook with. So that's kind of the story. And Teresa and I met at TCNewTech, and now we're taking it to market, and we've had huge success thanks to the TC community. So next slide. I have a shout out, though, to Eamon Smith. It was his idea to have us go and send filters to the hurricane victims in Southwest Florida. And it was a great idea. He brought not only the idea, he brought the energy. So through generous donations from the TC community, we sent about 400 OLA filters to Southwest Florida hurricane victims. Through Global Empowerment Mission, they're known as GEM. So GEM and Acha Products Corporations are launching a campaign in November featuring the OLA filter. GEM has supported humanitarian and disaster relief missions in 40 countries and in all 50 US states. Through ACHA, the OLA filter is now registered in GSA, which is General Services Administration for Disaster Relief. GSA is a government procurement agency. And ACHA, being a certified minority woman-owned company, is being featured. We are now a finalist in the Women's Business Enterprise National Conference. It's a pitch contest on November 15th in Washington, D.C., sponsored by FedEx and PepsiCo. We'll actually be pitching to an audience of 275 corporate members. This is tremendous exposure for not only ACHA, but for OLA filters. So that's a big win for us. Oh, I went over the time. Sorry.
Oh.
We don't know what to do. She has something else to close
Because you
with?
don't have to judge on us. Remember, we're just giving you an update. So I'm sure she can ask you can finish. Teresa, 10 seconds.
Okay. So basically, we're ready to open new markets, and you can help. So if you work with a nonprofit, you can maybe consider a pilot project. Retailers, you can stock them in your stores. We've got 30 people in Traverse City area that just bought one within the last 3 weeks after they saw us on the news. Your individuals, your school, or your church group can bring them on an outreach trip or a campaign. So if you want to help, just reach out to me or to Kim tonight. And thank you for your attention.
And thank you.
Thank you both, and good luck on November 15th. What's happening? I'm getting some support in the back end here, but while we do that, I'm going to go ahead and introduce Henry. Henry is our third pitch tonight with VersaQuest. How are you?
Good evening. My name is Henry Westland, student founder and senior at Northern Michigan University, graduating in May 2023 with a degree in entrepreneurship. Originally from the land of 10,000 lakes, I grew up doing every water sport under the sun. I'm currently the captain of the NMU sailing team, as well as the project manager at Invent at NMU, the student team at Innovate Marquette Smart Zone, the greatest outdoor innovation ecosystem in the country. I now present to you VersaQuest. Welcome to the next generation of outdoor recreation. Fun, fast-paced, eye-opening outdoor recreation products are expensive and have a steep learning curve, which typically means they only can be enjoyed by a select group of users. With the use of sustainable technology, outdoor mobility, and accessibility technology design elements, we are doing more with less by combining cutting-edge technology and innovations into our affordable, adventure-packed micro EV. VersaQuest is an early-stage, ready-for-investment startup out of Marquette, Michigan. Our project is a revolutionary franchise rental business utilizing our own see-through paddleboard design, which leverages technology from 4 specific fields, including stand-up paddleboard, sea scooter, surface-supplied air, and solar technology. Our first paddleboard design has been coined the VersaQuest Vision and is accompanied by VersaQuest Vibe attachments rented at VersaQuest Village locations. We are breaking down barriers for the user while promoting the Recreational Economy Directive. Investing in outdoor recreation on public waters earns multifaceted returns in the form of healthier communities, healthier economies, and healthier people. We have 2 members that tie together seamlessly. The first product is a part inflatable, part hard-sided stand-up paddleboard with a plethora of add-ons and upgrades. Just imagine, you got this sea scooter up here. Does anybody know what a sea scooter is? So a sea scooter is an electric, handheld personal propulsion system that can pull you underwater at up to 8 miles an hour. I converted this sea scooter to attach to the back of the board that can also propel the user on the surface of the water. The second crazy cool feature is a tankless air tube dive system for a part scuba, part snorkeling experience under the board. So just imagine, you're cruising along, you see something super cool on the bottom of the lake, you just grab that ski scooter off the back, you slap that dive mask on, you dive down there and you go check it out. Hands-on experience. Now, how do you get this board? At a Village location. The Village is a self-sustaining pod-style drop business powered through solar panels, which charge the in-floor battery pack located within each pod. This business model allows the franchisee to easily move the business to any beachfront location and instantly start generating revenue with limited overhead and a nationwide network of support. The Vision is the most versatile vessel that allows owners and renters alike to quest what once was uncharted territory. American consumers annually spend $887 billion in the outdoor recreation space, soon to be $1 trillion. We spend more on outdoor recreation than we do on pharmaceuticals and fuel combined. The business model for VersaQuest is our franchisee agreements, which will expand our reach and scope and get our product out in front of the consumers. The Vision will retail at generic paddleboard rates, while the premium Vibe attachments will unlock the Vision's full potential. The underlying magic for VersaQuest is our configurable paddleboard design, with a mission of providing endless fun to extreme sports athletes and limited mobility users alike. The coolest people are both, we all know that. I'm asking for $150,000 to file additional design patents to transfer from provisionals to non-provisionals, as well as manufacture 5 of our Vision models pre-production and promote the innovative VersaQuest lifestyle to 5 outdoor recreation influencers as our first marketing campaign. To conclude, I have the skills, know-how, and drive to get this product out of Lake Superior and into some hot water. VersaQuest, welcome to the next generation of outdoor recreation. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah. Any questions? Yes, sir. Thank you. I do, yes. So I have a proof of concept prototype that I've developed, and it works so well. It's crazy. I should have brought some pictures. I have a 3D print that you can see what it looks like out in the lobby out there, and I can show you some pictures after this if you'd like. Any other questions? Go here first. Yes, exactly. Yes. So yes. So she asked, what is the franchise business model? How does this fit in there? Here, let me show you. Thank you. Just snap it on there. Got it. So the concept is that a franchisee owner could purchase the entire unit, the self-sustaining solar panels drop business, and rent roughly 20 paddle boards. And we've developed a ton of different, what we call quests, or different classes that users can use. So you could go think meditation on a paddleboard, yoga on a paddleboard, exercise classes on a paddleboard. You could literally do anything with this thing. So what we've created is a membership to the village. So owners and renters can both be a part of these classes and go out and experience the great outdoors. Thank you.
First of all, excellent pitch, very confident, lots of great energy. I really liked it. Early on, one of your first slides mentioned that you were looking to reduce the learning curve and the cost for recreational outdoor activity.
Yep.
To me, this appears to be quite complex for an average user and maybe a little more involved from the financial side as well. Are you targeting people that are maybe more advanced with their skills, outdoor recreation, paddleboarding, and also these attachments, or are you targeting more novice users to increase the adoption and increase access to this type of activity?
Yeah, so he asked kind of who is our target market is kind of the essential question. And we see everybody as our target market. You're not supposed to say that in business, but this literally caters to everyone, because the concept is the general paddleboard will retail at generic paddleboard rates, but all of the additional Vibe attachments, which are both high tech and low tech, will unlock the Vision's full potential. So you're paying extra for the attachments to unlock the whole experience. So you go to the village location, you can rent it, you test it, you fall in love, then you go out and buy the paddleboard, which retails at generic paddleboard rates. And then as time goes on, you could purchase the Vibes when you'd like to. Thank you. Any other questions? Perfect. Well, oh, one more car. Great question. So the generic Vibe, generic Vision will retail at about $1,200. And then the Vibe attachments, the C-Scooter, right now you can buy those for $300 off of Amazon. So somewhere around there. And the air tube dive systems, roughly $1,000. So it can vary from there. And we've created a bunch of other attachments. Think a chair, think a backrest, think a fishing pole mount, a sunshade, anything you can come up with, we can throw on here. Great. Yep, great question. So we're thinking the hourly rate is somewhere around $40 to $100. That's a wide range, but depending on what vibe attachments you're renting, it will vary. And then classes, you have to pay extra, but the membership is still in development, but you could pay the membership fee and then the classes are included in that membership cost. So you could, go ahead. Yeah, so roughly $100 a month. Maybe less. Probably less. Probably less.
I mean, like, as someone who also lives in Northern, like, I know the UP does not have the kind of cost of living that we have here in Traverse City. So, like, have you tested any of that out over in the UP and Marquette, or is this something that you're just, like, hope for?
Yeah, so this is something I hope to test in this upcoming summer and get those in Marquette. Yeah, around Marquette. Any other questions? Yep.
What depths can you go down to with that, and also what's the charging battery like, and maybe cost for on that?
Yep, great question. So right now we have the tube set at 15 feet. That's kind of a standard, so you don't get sick coming up. So you got 15 feet of freedom to go swim and figure out what's down there. Super cool. The life of the battery. So in the middle of the battery between your legs is an additional battery, which will charge the sea scooter when it's plugged in and charge the air tube dive system for up to 5 hours.
Awesome.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic. Well done. And we are at the halfway point, so stick around. We're going to rock through a few more presentations, but before we get to our next pitch, I want to welcome Warren Call with Traverse Connect. He's going to help us understand the broader vision of this bluescape that we're talking about tonight.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thanks for being here. I hope that you're seeing by now that we've got a lot of momentum and we are really well positioned for growing a whole host of blue economy technologies across this region. We're excited about it as a region, and obviously we're seeing a lot of momentum. So I'm just going to share a couple of quick things that we're working on as an economic development agency to focus on this. The key thing here is that we believe this region brings together three key things. We have world-class accessible water resources that are a wonderful test bed for any of these resources and any of these companies that are considering moving here. Number two, we have a history of engineering and manufacturing in this region that can work on those technologies. We have the education resources, we have the manufacturing resources, we have the engineering resources that can make these things happen. And number three, we're a place that people want to live, right? So you put all those things together with maybe the added bonus that going forward, we're potentially the most climate resilient place on the planet. This is a growth industry for us, folks, and we need to focus on it. So we've already got, as you're hearing, a good development cluster happening with what Michigan Tech is doing, with what NMC is doing, with all these companies that are doing, with the great nonprofit organizations that are already working on this, a whole host of organizations. So we've already got the energy and the momentum, and we want to keep it going. I'm going to share one quick example of something that we're working on the economic development front that we're really excited about. We are poised by next boating season to be the first place in North America with a rapid charging corridor. It's been installed in Elk Rapids. It's been installed in Northport. The contract for Clinch Marina downtown here, just that way a little bit, is in the works. And once that's done, we will be literally the first charging corridor in North America where you can rapidly charge an e-boat, okay? That's pretty exciting for anyone that has an e-boat. It's exciting for Elk Rapids Marina, which is the first dealership in Michigan to to have these. But really what we're looking at is if we're the first place that has a corridor, then we're the place that companies are going to look for research, development, testing, and hopefully manufacturing and production of those things. So we see it as a growth opportunity in manufacturing, in engineering, and a whole host of other industries. We are actively courting that. We've met with several European companies that are interested in moving here. We've got a lot of early startup companies, some Michigan-based startup companies that are interested in what we're doing. So that's just one quick example of a blue economy economic development project that we're actively working right now. As we move forward, I think it's important, and this kind of touches on the last presentation. The state is very interested in supporting, funding, and contributing to where e-mobility, electrification, and outdoor recreation come together. So any business along those lines, we can get a lot of support. But really my ask here is any business involved in the blue economy, water research, water recreation, water testing, anything, if you've got a company, an idea, if you know of somebody that's got a company or idea, please get in touch with me. Let's talk about how we can make that happen right here. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate the time.
Thank you, Warren. Can't read my my notes. So we're just going to welcome Francis to the stage. And I believe that there's going to be you're going to represent, how do you say it? Supify? Come on up. Supirec.
The first question is probably, what does that mean? Is this on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Supirec is superior pyrolysis recycling. And it's an invention out of Michigan Tech. There, the inventor and founder, Professor David, he's got his address there. It converts waste plastic products and reducing the environmental impact of those kinds of materials. So last spring, Michigan Tech came down to Traverse City at 20 Fathoms, and they had a list of projects that they were looking for some assistance to commercialize. And they thought that the Traverse City folks would have more resources than they had in Houghton. And 20 Fathoms responded to that. And so we've got a two-level initiative going. One is to design a process for the commercialization of these kinds of projects out of Michigan Tech. And the second was to run a pilot program against that process. So what we're going to talk about, Supirec is the first project for the first company from Michigan Tech that's going to go through this process. And when it's successful, then we will have a pipeline for Michigan Tech to fill with their research projects that we can commercialize in assistance to them. So what's the basic problem? The basic problem is that it's difficult to recycle some particular plastics, particularly polyethylenes and polypropylenes. And you can see that this is a determinant or a barrier to clear water. So what we need to do is talk about prevention rather than cure. So what we think is if we can disrupt that stream, then we'll be further ahead. So we've got this idea of a pyrolysis reactor that has three different outputs: gas, liquid, and a waxy subject. The wax can go recycled back in as a solvent to the plastics in the wax. The outputs are these that I've mentioned. The status of where we are at the moment is we've got we went through the National I-Corps. They have over 100 customer interviews. We've got a DARPA grant to develop the capability to do this on a mobile basis so that it becomes portable. The DOE, and we're applying for an STTR now to deal with the the liquids that come out of this, which are probably going to turn out to be oils and lubes and those kinds of things. And then the third one is, what are we going to do with the wax, right? There's a $10 million global market for industrial wax. How do we, it's just feeds back into the system. We think that if we can divert some of that, we can do something, because we can tailor the output of that so that the wax can be anywhere from 10% to 90%, which then gives you different properties and different things that you can do with the wax. So the wax can come out in a number of ways and can be much more valuable than just feedstock for the process. Our value props are for material recycling facilities. We think we can create a revenue stream for them for plastics 3 to 7. Those are the ones that are so difficult to recycle. And we can reduce their cost by $20 a ton, which doesn't sound like very much, but when you talk about tons and tons and tons, it's a fair number. Secondly, again, for the material recycling facilities, they're able to process 1,000 tons of, we can process 1,000 tons of waste plastics. And that will then give them a different, they can become a supply chain, part of our supply chain to feed us. Now what we need to do is we need to find some candle makers that are interested in maybe using some of our kind of wax. So don't know how well that's going to go over yet. The work plan that we've got, we start off with what we call a where to play. There's thousands and thousands of different uses for wax. We need to find a couple, maybe 3, 4 that we can work. Then we go into a discovery phase where we gather all of our information, put together our plans. Let me go to the next one. Okay, what we're looking for are some marketing resources, some product development resources, supply chain, all the folks that we need to put this proposal together. In funding, these are just wild, not guess at what we've got here, but 50 to 100 in the next 20 days. And then the others will depend on where we are in the process and how we know. Okay. So again, we take plastics, turn them into useful products, clean up the environment. Okay. Questions? Questions? Yes, sir.
Can you take all the plastic they're dredging out of the Pacific Ocean with that real high profile project? Can you take that detritus and use it in your pyrolysis?
In theory, yes.
Okay,
But there has to be.
I can't hear you. So you got to tell them what the question was. And then
Okay,
answer it.
excuse me. Yeah, the question was, can we do anything with the plastics that are floating around in the ocean? Right. I mean, basically, that's the question. The answer in theory is yes, but we can't take it from that and put it into our system. It still has to be processed and sorted and cleaned, because it's not just one material or one kind of thing, right? But I think the better idea is plastic bottles and those kind of, in this area, what happens to all of the blue things that they wrap the boats with every year, right? What happens with that stuff? That's all recyclable through this process. Okay. Other questions? Yes, sir.
How big of a footprint do you see the facility for the paralysis? Is it something that could be as small as a mobile station, or is it a large complex?
Good question, because, I'm sorry. The question was, how big of a facility do we think we're going to have? I think that depends on the decision that we have to make yet. The DARPA is a mobile one, and while it may be desirable to get something that will fit into the back of a pickup, I think the reality is it's probably going to fit in the back of a 5-ton. But the question for the wax production and all that kind of stuff is, are we going to have a number of facilities, small facilities near recycling places, or are we going to build one great big one and have all of the stuff come into us? That's to be decided yet. We just don't know. Anything else? Yeah.
We were talking about we're talking about sustainability. What is the how much energy do you use per volume? How much, yeah,
I don't know the answer to that. That the techie guys can answer that. I don't know, but I know I do. Let me just say one thing then, relative to that, is that you saw in the early process model that the gases flow back into the burner and the wax flows back into the burner. That's because one of the byproducts is a strain of natural gas. And the idea is in this portable one, the gas can then run a generator that will provide the electricity that will be required to generate the heat to melt the plastic to get right. So it'll be a little bit of a closed circuit type of a recycling thing. And the real answer is how much are we going to take out of it in terms of the wax or the other liquids or stuff that we're going to need for the products that we want to sell. Don't know that yet. Anybody else? Yeah.
So I know by accidentally throwing a plastic bottle on fire, it smells quite terrible, and then you can see fluids coming out of it. How do you know your wax won't have that problem from sorting it in your
Correct.
device?
Yeah. Yeah. So at least thus far in testing, we haven't found any smells or contaminants or any of that kind of stuff. But we're really early in terms of the wax. The other determinant is I really don't think that this is going to be if we do candles, I don't think it's going to be a candle made out of this particular wax. It's going to be some sort of a hybrid that'll have more beauty and more formability and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Anybody else? Done?
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our fifth presentation tonight is going to be with Ed Bailey, and he is with the Freshwater Technology Initiative.
Well, thank you. And it's really great tonight to see this many people here interested in the blue tech and the blue tech economy. I think as Warren articulated, this region is really well poised to deliver in this arena. And so part of what my presentation tonight is about is really how can we prime that pump, the front end of that innovation cycle that brings young entrepreneurs to Traverse City to develop a program. So my proposal tonight is really the development of what's called a freshwater technology initiative. It's a platform focused on early professionals to take their ideas and turn them into solutions focused on the Great Lakes. So what is the problem that we're trying to solve? So if you're an early professional and you've been in the workplace for 3 or 4 years, how do you take an idea and then turn that into something to a viable solution? Clearly, we have academic programs that do a really good job, as witnessed by Henry and what goes on at Northern. But NMC has a program, Grand Valley has a really good program, Michigan Tech has a program, and MSU has a program. Even at school in Ann Arbor, they have a program there developed on innovation, innovation and bringing young entrepreneurs ideas to the marketplace. But if you're a professional, that doesn't exist. And so as an example, we recently completed a program called Water Innovation Lab Great Lakes. It is the pilot to this program, and it was designed basically to take young entrepreneurs from all over the country, bring them to Traverse City, and spin up a business. We ultimately brought 11 individuals here, and 5 of those are working towards a business right now. So that was our pilot. But the perfect example of that is an individual that was part of that. Her name is Zane. So she works for NOAA. Her job was basically to allocate airborne assets for NOAA and $1 million sensor packages over Lake Erie looking for algal blooms. And so once they detected it, they processed the data and then made it to the proper authorities. Her idea was really simply, how do we do this faster? How can we invent a sensor networked that would allow this in real time that we could all take and use on our phones? And so, but she has no platform to do that, no idea how to turn it into business. She couldn't come here with a marketing plan. She doesn't have a prototype. She just has an idea. So the idea behind the program we're developing is how do we help those individuals take those concepts and turn them into real solutions? And so again, I think I've said this a couple of times, but our goal is really the front end of the innovation cycle. How do we feed these ideas into the ecosystem that already exists in Traverse City and turn them into real businesses people want to stay for? So again, the schedule, it's a 12-month program. It's structured, it's formatted. We want to bring them here and basically, you know, through a series of virtual programs and then bring them to Traverse City for a week. Because really, until you've experienced Traverse City and the ecosystem that exists here, it's really hard to explain to somebody from Florida or California or Canada what makes sense. Why should I come to Traverse City to do business here? Once you're here, clearly you understand why and you want to stay here. So again, a 12-month program to help folks do that. What our outcomes are is really to establish 5 businesses. We want to create at least some nominal level of interest in here. We want to create solutions that are focused on the issues around the Great Lakes and fresh water and technology. And then we want to expand our partnerships. As Warren talked about, you know, we want to create that network of folks that want to come to Traverse City. The larger the ecosystem, the more opportunities, the more interests business will have here. In terms of what is the ask? Money. Looking for $155,000 to fund this is basically the phase 2 or phase 1 of the program. The funding is going to go towards structured workshops and to pay people to help do concepts and design thinking, pitch development, market analysis, legal IP issues. Bring them to Traverse City, pay for them for a week so they can come here and experience the ecosystem, and then hopefully from that, nurture them to develop businesses in the area. Again, the other ask is really resources. I mentioned the Water Innovation Lab Great Lakes. We had a really successful program. It was supported by a lot of people in this room that acted as mentors or what we called resource guests. So we'd want to continue that. And then obviously keeping that Traverse City entrepreneur ecosystem going is also equally important. So that is my proposal and my pitch. And so I'd be glad to ask questions. Yes. Hi, Dree.
Hi, I was wondering, like, how are you partnering with organizations who offer supports like this, like Michigan Works or Networks Northwest or 20 Fathom?
So actually, they're all partners with all of this. So yes, we will partner with anybody. We actually partner with 20 Fathoms as part of the Water Innovation Lab Great Lakes. And so the intent is to basically provide that and feed that into the ecosystem. Networks Northwest has provided funding for a lot of our opportunities for us. So yes, there's lots of ways that we can partner to help that. I mean, Traverse City is a very networked community, and so we intend to leverage those networks to make this even stronger. Chuck.
I'll give you a shout out. I was involved with the Water Innovation Lab Great Lakes, very minor part, but what you're doing is you are bringing the people together. And just like Bill wanted to talk about the shout out for Dana, et cetera, I want to give a shout out to you, where you're connecting these people, where these young people come in with an idea and really nothing more. And
Exactly.
They have no idea what a network even looks like. And you are creating that for them. And from there, who knows what's going to happen after that. And so the whole realm of possibilities that you're making as a result of this, I just want to give you a shout out myself, because I really appreciate the effort and the time that you put into this, because it is paying off big time.
Well, thanks, Chuck. Maybe you should have come up and given this pitch.
No.
So are there, yes. So great question. The question was, how do we get the word out and reach these young professionals about Traverse City and this program? And so the intent is to basically use professional societies. Almost every professional society, I mean, we're strong in the marine environment, but they all have what they call early professionals, early college professionals that are focused on those young entrepreneurs or young individuals to market. So for example, the Marine Technology Society, Hydrographic Society of America, a lot of those organizations have that we're going to reach into and develop that. So the question was, are we a smart zone in Traverse City? Right. We're working on that. Hard. Right. So I think the question was, are we leveraging other smart zones focused on their technologies possibly to bring blue tech to this region. Correct. And so, no, we've not done that, but it's a great idea to help us think through that, because I think obviously the biggest, and the question to follow up on your question is, the outreach is key to this. How do we reach these individuals? Because there's a lot of people that don't know about what we're doing. They don't know about Traverse City, and we want to reach into that market. We did this as a pilot. I mentioned this earlier. We actually had total of 28 participants that were in the whole what's called Water Innovation Lab Great Lakes, the first version, but there were close to 40 or 50 individuals that were interested. So we screened through them just because we couldn't handle that volume. And so we have developed a network which we want to expand on. So.
So how is NMC staff interacting in this program? Are you, I mean, professors, or what does the week look like for these, entrepreneurs at the college?
So really, it's really focused on young entrepreneurs and not so much around NMC, because the NMC has a very structured program. Keith Kelly's sitting right there. He teaches in that program that's been, but we've really focused on those professionals that help bring them in to take idea generation, as Chuck mentioned. And so we ran through some design thinking workshops, some pitch development workshops, and created that in a more basically non-academic format. Because I mentioned there's some really good academic programs that help deliver those. And so we're trying to sort of circle outside of that. Obviously, we'd love them to come to NMC to do stuff, but right now it's sort of an independent approach to that. I think there's another question over here.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, like, you keep saying young professionals, so I'm curious, like, what is the age group specifically that you're looking for?
I'm old, and I consider myself a young professional. So we really... So we really have, I've got 5 seconds. So we really, I mean, we call them young professionals because we really think the focus is on those that have been in the workforce for 3 to 5 years that are really looking for something potentially different. But we don't preclude anybody. So anyone who has an idea that they feel that they can come to Traverse City and want to be dealt, we'd be glad to help them find that solution. And I think I'm done.
You can. All right, fantastic. Our final pitch for the evening is going to be Hans, and he is going to focus on Lakebed 2030, mapping the Great Lakes.
Great. Thanks, everybody, for being here. Lakebed 2030 is an initiative that we stood up at the college about 4 years ago. And it really came to fruition from looking at the issues with the lack of data in the world ocean, lack of data in the Great Lakes. And it came out of a conference where someone was presenting on all of this. And they started talking about, we don't have anything. How do we make decisions? How do we progress in terms of sustainability plans? And nothing would ever show up on the Great Lakes. And where are the Great Lakes in this? Well, there is data, but we're just not sure what. And right there is a big problem. There is data, but what is it, where is it, and who holds it? And so what I'm going to talk about today or tonight is really looking at what are the strategies that we can do to not only accelerate what's going on in the Great Lakes, but why we can do it and what we'll get out of it. So a little perspective, all right? Ocean covers 71% of the planet. We've mapped roughly 20% of the world ocean at high resolution. And what I mean by that is that it's not dropping a tape measure and then getting a sextant fix from the stars. So data is antiquated in the ocean. It's even more antiquated in the Great Lakes. We only have about 7 to 10% of our Great Lakes mapped, and very little is explored. So when you think about long-term decision-making that we have, there's no way we're gonna move to solutions without baseline data. It's no different than your heartbeat and your blood pressure in your body. Without that information, there's little we can do medically. So another perspective, we know more about Venus and Mars and the surface of those planets than we do the Great Lakes or the ocean. We know more about our moon, and the idea that it's not just the coverage, but it's also the resolution or the density of those data. The resolution of models that can be used today, and this is partnerships that we have with universities throughout Michigan, throughout the United States, but specifically at Michigan Tech, the data that they can put out is extremely valuable, but it requires this baseline data to be predictable and to be making the right forecast as we move forward. Oh, I didn't even realize I hit it. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'll go forward here. So why do we need it? All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, I'm not going to touch this. So why do we need it, right? So you can look at all the base information that's needed throughout the Great Lakes. I mean, nautical charting is traditionally where we think about where data is. But the cultural resources throughout the Great Lakes, including thousands of shipwrecks, many discovered, thousands yet to be discovered. The picture of the little fish in the bottom corner, that's a critical species involved in fisheries management for lake trout. That was in East Grand Traverse Bay in over 600 feet of water, and that will never be discovered without better information of the bottom of the lakes. This goes into big billion-dollar decision-making when we think about our fisheries in the Great Lakes. All kinds of opportunity for development of better decision-making, and I think that's where this data really starts. So how are we going to do it? So there's a couple of companies that are on board with supporting this. Number one, Saildrone. Saildrone's a company out of Alameda, California, offices on the East Coast. They've developed a wind-powered, solar-powered platform that can host many different mapping capabilities that can map 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for months at a time. And you start thinking of the value of a tool like this that doesn't require people. It doesn't require fuel. It gives us a lot of opportunity to not only explore a new domain, but also do it in a much more cost-effective way. And the idea that it comes real time. So now we're getting this information back to the users, to the people who need it. We can navigate these devices as we move along. The other one is TerraDepth. New company, stood up about 3 years ago, developed by two former Navy SEALs who needed data for the work they did. This low-cost, low-logistic tool can explore areas quickly and efficiently with very little requirement for putting people in the water. And it's the autonomous solution, the smart solution, that is really going to solve these needs for mapping. They also come with this Absolute Ocean, which is a data portal for management of these data. And you think about it, a lot of the big problems, as I started with, are access to data. We have way too much data that is collected and sits on someone's desktop. And so their solution is really to create the Google Earth of the ocean, make this accessible so you as a data manager are able to access these information real time, or if you want to monetize it, well, your data that you spend a lot of money to collect could have value to somebody else and they could pay for that. And so what are we asking for? It's $500,000, and that's to bring those companies here, back up. I'm going to set that down. All right.
Here, I got it.
All right.
No, I got it.
Okay. All right. I am not touching.
It's on a moving slide, so it's going to keep going.
All right. Well, either way, we got a lot going on here. No, I can sum this up. This is a catalyst for new business opportunity. This is a catalyst for research that could continue to evolve. And I think about like DARPA projects and other initiatives that require new thought, new innovative processes, which is why we're all here. A lot of those technologies die on the vine before they get a chance to be proven out. So by catalyzing this in Grand Traverse Bay, mapping Grand Traverse Bay, mapping some very unique parts of Lake Michigan, we can show the products, we can excite the audience, but we can also attract more people to come in, and it will directly tie with our marine technology program at the college, which employs or creates the workforce that handle these things. So that's my pitch for you today, but it's very exciting, and it also has the opportunity for additional match dollars from the NOAA Office of Coast Survey that can leverage the dollars that we're seeking to do even more work from this. So thank you for your time. Yep. So any questions? Yes. So the idea would be to start this in the fall of next year or the summer of 2024. And I say both because there are surface platforms that can be utilized in the shoulder seasons that they want to do additional testing with ice environments, the harsh environments that the Great Lakes present. So the question was, when would it start? So I apologize. Yes.
I see you doing like optical data analysis. Like what all sort of data are you really trying to get at, and like what are like the are you looking just purely in the visual spectrum, or are you looking at infrared, or are you doing like
So the question's about what kind of data do we want to collect? And I think the mantra that we use is collect once and use many times. So if I'm in a place doing collection, the idea is to onboard as many of the sensor packages that are required for the work that needs to be done in that area. That could be optical. That could be all ranges of optical. Primarily, we're looking at acoustic because acoustically, the ocean and the Great Lakes are very transparent. And the idea that we can not only capture position and depth, but we can also capture what the seafloor is made of, what the lake floor is made of, what are some of the things in the water column. So that's more of the strategy, is embed as many opportunities to collect that data as possible. Chuck, you had a...
Are you looking for grants or equity or debt or some combination thereof for that 500K?
I think that from this perspective, it's really a grant type application to really seed this and get it going. Then we start creating those business opportunities that Warren talked about, that Eric's been talking about. How do we catalyze those groups to come in and create the next sail drone or the next TerraDepth, or partner up with those companies? They're both growing dramatically. And one of the thoughts I have is that let's get them into Traverse City in this region. Let's create their Great Lakes hub here because we have a lot to offer. Yeah, yeah, Brian.
On the previous slide, is that real data that's drawn on the page, or is that fake data? 68, the slide above you.
This one, that, yeah. So yeah, the question is that real data? And this, that's LiDAR data from USGS, yeah. Yep. Good. Oh.
Hi, so I got a two-part question. One, would this data be collected with the philosophy of like the citizen science type philosophy of like anyone would be able to use it?
So there's two for that. Depends on who's using it and who's paying for it. So the data that we would collect here would be open access to people. What we would catalyze from there would be based on who was using it. But the portal is there and designed so you as a user could collect and use those or have access to those data right away. So what I'm proposing, what we do with Sail Drone and with TerraDepth would be an open access platform.
And then my second question, like you have a line to NMC workforce development. So is that tied to the hot jobs list out of curiosity, or is that like what is the NMC workforce development align their work to?
So I'm going to point to these four individuals in this row here. They're all students in our Bachelor's of Marine Technology. When I say that, I mean that we have 100% workforce placement of every one of those graduates when they leave the program doing this kind of work, and they do it globally. So it really connects with the new strategies for the work that they're going to be doing or are already starting to do. So that's where that workforce piece comes in. Question? So, well, if we set the goal at 2030, we're hopeful that we get there by 2030. Is that a very ambitious goal? It is. It won't be done with traditional methods, which are still some of the conversations that are being held. And so to get there, to map by entirety, we're going to require more uncrewed vessels. We're going to require strategies that allow us to work longer in the season, maybe get frozen into the ice. And I think that both of these technologies that are represented here today are interested in the Arctic and Antarctic. It's difficult to test your platform for those kind of extreme environments, whereas the Great Lakes, I mean, we have ice. And you think about it, there is no U.S. coast that has ice on a yearly basis except the northern parts of Alaska, and those are very difficult logistically to get to. So we have an opportunity to develop those platforms, but do this year round. And could we get there by 2030? Absolutely. Is it going to take money? Absolutely. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. He's going to get us where we need to go. We've got one quick announcement, and then we're going to move into voting. So you'll need to have your cell phones handy, but I want to invite Bradley Matson. He's going to come up and talk about Michigan Startup Week. Northern Michigan Startup Week. You need this guy? No? Is there a slide for this one?
All right, good evening. I'm Bradley Matson with Northern Michigan Angels, as well as Spartan Innovations Conquer Accelerator. And I'm here with a save the date to Northern Michigan Startup Week 2023. So last year, May So last year was our first startup week in Northern Michigan here, and we were very successful with over 2,000 participants, both participating, viewing, and students who joined us. We had over 100 high school students locally here, as well as college students throughout the state that came up to join. Slide is slightly broken, but the QR code will work. So here you can save the date for Northern Michigan Startup Week this coming May. We're very excited to announce that the theme for this coming year will be water innovation, very on theme for what we're talking about here. And the whole purpose of Startup Week is really to be a showcase for all the lovely work that all of us do here, the innovation, the startups that we have up here. It's meant to be a showcase for the region. So we're inviting everyone throughout the region to come and join us. The partnering organizations for this year are TCNewTech, 20 Fathoms, NMC, Northern Michigan Angels, Commonplace, Newton's Road, and also Traverse Connect. So the dates for this year's Northern Michigan Startup Week is May 5th through 11th. So that's starting May 5th with the Traverse City Startup Weekend, and then finishing up May 11th with the Scale Up Awards and finale this May. So everyone click this QR code that actually showed up here. The rest of it did not, but you can go to nmsw.co is the website, nice and short, and you can sign up. The first 20 to sign up will get a t-shirt from last year's Startup Week, while supplies last in your size. And we are, including a lot of fun water events this year. We're getting bigger, better, and wetter. So if you have a community organization that would like to be a part of Startup Week, connect with us. We'd love to involve you. If you have a brand that you'd love to sponsor and connect with the future of water tech here in the region, we would love to have you. And we would love you to participate. So yeah, click the QR code, and Northern Michigan Startup Week this May 5th through 11th. Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah, we can't get them all right sometimes. Sorry for that this evening, folks. So we're going to move into the voting portion. So you're going to want to have your phones out. Hopefully you had them out like I told you, and you could scan this QR code, but you want to scan this guy. While we're doing voting, this is the time to make public announcements. So if you've been waiting to come in between the seats here, make your way to the microphone, you can quickly have a public announcement. Drea is up, and we do have a timer for 30 seconds once Chuck's done voting.
So, hi, y'all. My name's Drea Weiner. I'm here with the MySTEM Network. And one of the things that we're prepping for within the schools is CS Ed Week, which is the first week in December. And what I'm looking for are computer science professionals who may or may not be willing to talk with kids. If you're a little scared of them, it's okay. On occasion it happens, but we're willing to work with you so that kids can actually ask questions and hear what it's like to have a career and why it's really important. And also, if you're really scared of kids and you're just like, you know what, Drea, I'm happy to just help support with funds or resources, feel free to reach out as well, because we want to make sure they get as real of an experience as possible. So thank you all, and I will be out there mingling with y'all if you want to chat.
Thank you. Awesome. So while we're waiting for anybody else to join us at the microphone, we just want to say a big thank you to our sponsor for our $500 prize is Haggerty Insurance. I'm sure if you're from here, you know who they are, but they're a very big supporter of TCNewTech and a variety of community things. So thank you very much, Haggerty Insurance. Anybody else have a?
Hey, it is working this time. Hey, see this guy? I'm a guy. I just have a few things. This is kind of a personal thing, trying to take advantage of the fact that you guys are listening and abusing the situation. I have got a job, but I'm looking for other jobs. I've been working in the IT industry for 25 years. I've been doing software development for like over 14 years ago. And I'm just looking for work. I'm looking for friendship. And hey, while I'm at it, if there's any ladies in the crowd, I'm also looking for some ladies. So
Yes.
thanks.
That is a first. That's awesome. I love it. All right. We've got one. What? You can come up on stage and make an
Does this one work too? Cool. Thank you. All right, guys. As some of you may know, we're the Action Glow Bros.
Hi, everybody.
We've presented here a couple times before, but we're here today with some really exciting news. So Garrett and I have had a pretty eventful last couple of months. I'll let you just do a quick synopsis of what happened over the last couple months.
Yeah, so in our last presentation, we mentioned our school bus tour, which we brought down to Chicago and had a professional muralist draw up and literally put a mural on both sides of our school bus and turned it into a complete action sports tour bus that we are so excited to travel around the country. And then we had one day to come home and pack our bags and flew out to France for another World Surf League competition where 25,000 people lined the beaches to watch professional athletes storm the waters and all had Action Glow on their boards. And then the most exciting news of it all.
This was pretty exciting. We had about a week to repack our bags, wash our clothes, and we flew out to Los Angeles. And this is where the exciting news happened. So it's finally now public news. Garrett and I and our company Action Glow will be airing on Shark Tank in 3 weeks.
So we have another save the date, which is Friday, November 18th on ABC at 8 o'clock. Tune in and watch Dakota and I light up the tank and go swim with the sharks.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, so it looks like we have an announcement. So with a huge thank you from our sponsor, Haggerty Insurance, we want to announce that Lakebed 2030 has won the $500 donation. And Chris, where do you want this picture taken? Do we take a photo with? Well, make sure he gets a real check. Thank you. There you go. Congratulations. Thank you, everybody, for participating in our vote. So we like to move quickly through the rest of this and basically talk. Congratulations. And we have a couple sponsor announcements, but we want to tell you when our next presentation is, and we are going to gather in the back, but a little bit quickly because we had a long presentation and we're going to venture over to 7 Monks. So that's where the social hour and connecting will be happening tonight. That's my big face on the screen. If you have employees and you need payroll, we work with everything from startup through enterprise level. I'd love to help you out. Creative Coast obviously has been helping with jobs and bringing people to this area and really highlighting the value that we have not only in our jobs but in our recreation. Profit Clean has been a long-term supporting sponsor, so thank you to Sarah and her team. And then State Farm Insurance, we have Susan with State Farm over on 8th Street. Creos, the gentleman, where is he at? Creos is here. Yay. Thank you so much from Creos Consulting. Please check them out online. 20 Fathoms, and you heard from him tonight with Eric. We have a variety of in-kind sponsors. So if you're someone that doesn't necessarily want to write a check, but you think you have something that could be of value, we really appreciate your help. 20 Fathoms obviously helps in a variety of ways. Michigan's Creative Coast, again, elevating that. If you've not heard of them, they provide the Wi-Fi to this building and all kinds of things like festivals, difficult places to provide Wi-Fi. He's your guy. Pro 360 is taking our pictures, so you see them wandering around. Make sure you smile. K Productions does the live video production and the online streaming. And TrueJob has been sponsoring our online job board for quite some time. So if you go to tcnewtech.org and visit our job board, you can post a job or you can apply for one. Score mentors. So Barbara was representing their team this evening, but there's a variety, and they've been a longtime supporter not only to this event, but the individuals with those startup ideas. And we've talked about job boards, so that's what they do. You know what to do with that. Are we at the end? There we go. See you next time, December 6th, same place, same time. Bye.